if you will just kind of look through the first page, we're not going to do all of these. We're just going to run through a couple. The first one we're going to do is number 3. So look for me, please, bottom left at number 3 on the packet you got yesterday. Okay, which way are we shifting that graph on number 3? Okay, left 3, then up 5. And then what else do we notice in our thing? If there's a negative, so that's going to reflect down. So left 3, up 5 is here. And then we're going to draw, if it's absolute value bars, that's going to be your V shape. So we're going to do our V down. And you do get to use your notes tomorrow, so make sure that you bring them with you. You can look to see all the different shapes and all that. It's a quiz, it's not a test. It is, we're just finishing it. Okay, domain, what would it be? All real numbers, good job. Remember X within all real numbers? And then the range, make sure you put it in order. Which of these is right? Negative infinity to 5 or 5 to negative infinity? Correct. Okay, you do have to put them in order. Also, it should be a closed bracket on 5 because it wasn't an asymptote, right? Okay, turn the page, please. Next one we're going to do is number 6. Number 6, our type is a square root function, so you should remember that the shape of that is usually like that. Okay, which way are we shifting our graph? Right 3 and up 2. And it's going to be reflected down. So I'm going to go to the right 3, up 2 is right here. Morning. And then instead of doing my thing like this, I have to flip it upside down. So it's going to go like that. Now, my domain, how far back does my graph go? This is not in all real numbers. Where does it start? What X? 3. And it goes to where? Infinity. My range, how low does it go? Negative infinity. And then it goes how high here? 2. Very good. Now, on your quiz tomorrow, remember it's just a quiz, it's not a test, but there is some of the other forms, so I want you to write this one down in set form as well. So remember, for set form, you do squiggle x bar, and then if x is going from 3 to infinity, do I put a greater than or a less than? If it's going to infinity, that would be a greater than. And then remember that the way I close it in is I put the equal to. Now, for my range, I put my little squiggle y bar. And then if it's negative infinity to 2, am I using a greater than or a less than? If it's a negative infinity, so it's going down forever, I'd pick less than, y less than or equal to 2. Now, I don't need you to do it in both forms on the whole review. I just want to remind you of it so that when you get your quiz tomorrow, you recognize both. Okay? Come down to number 8. Let's just review that graph. If it's x cubed, it's a squiggle, like that. Okay, which way are we shifting it with the plus 1? If it was in parentheses, it'd be to the left, but since it's out in the back, it's not in the parentheses, we're going to go up 1. What other feature with this negative here? It's going to be reflected down. So we're going to go up 1 right here. And then instead of doing it like this, the same shape here, I'm going to flip it upside down. So it's going to go up on the left, down on the right. Domain and range for both will be what if I've got all arrows going opposite directions? X within all real numbers, Y within all real numbers. Okay, turn the page. Yes?
What would be the set notation for that again?
Good question. It'd be squiggle X bar, X within all real numbers. So remember, it's the same. The only difference is you'd put it in the little brackets. Yes? When we're done, yes, I'll send you. Okay, turn the page, please. Do we want to do one of the cubic roots, or y'all good on those? Yeah, sure. Let's do positive or negative. Or don't care. Okay, let's do the negative, because you have tons of examples of positives already. Okay, I have a -1. Which way are we going? Right 1. What about the +3? Up 3. Normally, your squiggle goes like this, but expect that whenever it's got a negative in the front, you're going to flip it upside down. So, right 1 up 3 is here. And then instead of drawing this shape, on this side, I'm going to curve up. And on this side, I'm going to curve down because I flipped it. So I'm going to put a little star here and put this one is upside down because of the negative. Okay? And I actually forgot to write that up here, but it's going to be reflected down. What about domain and range on this one? All real numbers. And then remember, set notation, you just put the squiggle X bar in the front and it'd be the same. Okay? All right. 11 and 12, we did several examples of those. Remember, for the positive one, you're in the top and bottom corners here and here. And what about if it's got a negative in the front? Which sides are you on? Yeah, you're in the opposite corners. So just make sure, if it's a normal one, it looks like this. If it's got a negative in front, like that one, then it's going to be opposite corners. Okay? Do we want to do one of those, or are we good? Do one? Okay. Let's do number 11. Okay, which way are we shifting our graph? I have an x plus 2 on the bottom. Left 2. What about the -6? Down 6. So left 2, down 6, way down here. And then I'm going to draw in, I have asymptotes going both directions. One flat across, and one up and down here. And then your graph would be in this corner, and this corner. Now, asymptote refers to the equations of those two lines. So remember, you're just going to put where the dotted line is. At what x is my dotted line going this way? X equals what? -2. And where's my y at? -6. Now, domain and range on these are annoying because you have to break it up. But remember, it's pretty much the same thing every time. You do that for your domain. So your middle number would be the x where the dotted line is that you can't touch, and then for your range, the middle number would be the y that you have to skip. So it would be -infinity till -6, union -6 to infinity. And remember, they're all open because those dotted lines count as open boundaries. Okay? Questions about that? All right, turn the page. Some of y'all still writing here? I'll leave this up here if you need to come take a picture. All right, let's do one of each of these. Let's do number 13. Which way is my graph shifted with a +3 in this spot? Okay, up 3. So 3 is here. Now notice I'm not shifting it to the side because your x doesn't have a little number with it. That's what would move it side to side. Which way does my exponential asymptote go? Flat or up and down? Flat is correct. So draw it in like that. What would the equation for that line be? Y equals what? Y equals 3. Very good. And then remember your exponential shape, you just get close to that line on one side and go off on the other. My domain will be what? Yup, it goes backwards on one side, it goes forwards on the other side, so that'd be all real numbers. But then your range is not all real numbers. How low can your graph go before it hits that line? 3. So 3 is the lowest, infinity is the highest. And then since it's a dotted line, I have to leave my 3 side open. Good job. Okay, come down to the last 2. Your logs. And if this makes you feel better tomorrow, the log, exponential, and the rational, it's literally like which equation is graphed above, and you're just looking at a graph. So you don't have to graph them, you just have to know which one is right. Okay? Let's do 15. Okay, so x minus 2, which way are we going? To the right 2. So 2 is here. Then I'm going to draw my dotted line. Remember, for a log, logs come from trees. Trees are up and down. And then remember that your graph stays on the right side of that line, so it'll be here. It gets close going down. It curves off as you go up. Where's my asymptote? Is it x equals 2 or y equals 2? X equals 2. And you can remember that it's x equals 2 because of Vux. Remember that's vertical, and it's x equals whatever the number is. Okay? My domain, does my graph go backwards to the left forever, or does it have to stop? Stops where? 2. 2 to infinity, open on both. Does my graph go down and up on both sides forever?
Yep.
So y would be all real numbers. Okay, turn to the last page. Number 17. How did they shift the graph? Just give me the directions. So here's 0, 0. This is where it normally is. This is where they moved it to. Okay, they went to the right 2, and then they went up how many? Up 3. So when they did the equation, what should they have put with x if it was forward 2? Plus or minus? Minus, because it's always the opposite. So it should have been minus 2 squared. And then with an up 3, what would you put at the back? Plus 3. So you'll notice that none of those answers are right. It's just going to be that one. Okay, take a look at, let's skip down to 19. Y'all know what you're doing on 18? You're just looking at how it's shifted. Okay, number 19, which way did they shift the graph? They were at 0, 0. Now they're at negative 2, 0. That means they moved it to the left. Should they have put a plus or a minus 2? Plus 2. Now, we can cross out the minuses. Should they have put it inside or outside? Inside. Good. And so your quiz is kind of a mixture of you have some multiple choice and then some you're doing on your own. Okay, last page, let's do number 20. Okay, graph of the quadratic, right here, is going to be translated 3 to the right and 4 units up. Okay, if I want to go 3 to the right, which number am I going to change? The 5. What am I going to do to it? Add 3 or subtract 3? Subtract 3. Because remember, it's always the opposite. So if it was a 5 and I take away 3, where is it at now? 2. Okay, now let's talk about the 4 units up. What number does that change? The number at the back, which is a 2. And do I add 4 or subtract 4? Add 4. 2 plus 4, what do we get there? 6. Good. Let's do number 23. Graph of the quadratic, log x plus 12 is going to be reflected. What do we do for that? Subtract. In the front, you put a negative sign. And then it says I want to go 1 unit to the right, 12 units up. How do I do the right? Add or subtract 1? Subtract 1 from where? The number with x. So if it was a 12 minus 1, now it's an 11. And then I want to go 12 units up, so I put my plus 12 at the back. Questions on how to do that? Are we good? All right, last little section, a little domain and range. Y'all want to pick first, second, third? Which one do y'all want to do? First one? These are supposed to be closed. Okay, that one's open. How far back does my domain go on this side? Okay, -7. How far forward does it go to the right on the other side? Okay, that's a 6. And on your quiz, I think the numbers are labeled, so you don't have to like count each box. Okay, -7, bracket or parentheses? Bracket, 6? Parentheses. Let's do our set notation while we're at it. Okay, squiggle X bar. And then remember, if it's a double number on both sides, you just go -7, less than X, less than 6. Remember, that's called a compound inequality. You don't really have to know that word, but that is what it's called. Is there anything we'd have to adjust on that? Yep. If this is closed, then I have to close it here as well. Those should be consistent. Okay, for my range, put your lowest and your highest points on there. My lowest point is here. Where's my highest point? Up there at the top. Very good. So my lowest point is how low? -8. Oops, that's not neat. -8. And then what's my highest point? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, my lowest point was closed. My highest point was also closed. And then you do your squiggle Y bar. And then go -8. Less than or equal to what letter here?
Y.
Y, less than or equal to 5. Okay? Okay, let's go ahead and set up the second one, and then y'all will have the rest of class just to finish the ones we did not do. Okay, domain, arrows on both sides. What's my domain? X within all real numbers. Is my range also all real numbers? No. Okay, I have a highest point right there. How high is it? 5. So I'd say -infinity to 5. Now that dot is supposed to look closed. Okay, so if that dot is closed, I do parentheses, bracket. For my domain for set notation, squiggle X bar. And then I put the exact same thing, X within R. And remember, that just means X is inside all real numbers. When I do my range, I don't have a double number. One of them's an infinity. That means I'm picking a greater than or a less than only. Which one would I pick here? If it's a -infinity,
Less than.
you'd pick a less than or equal to is correct. Okay? All right. So you have the rest of class to finish. You have about 30 minutes. I do have the answer key up here if you want to check it, but you can't bring your phone because I don't want anybody to take pictures and send it to everybody. So you can check it, but you need to do it first. Okay? You can ask me for help. You can ask a neighbor for help. Your quiz tomorrow is open notes. Your review will be due then. So if you finish it today, don't turn it in unless you don't want to use it tomorrow. If you want to use it on your quiz tomorrow, keep it with you so that you can bring it back as part of your notes, okay? And then y'all have no school on Monday. 3-day weekend.